Questions for reflection. In our first reading, Paul mentions the forgiveness of sin and the freedom that comes with it. Freedom is a gift which comes from God, and it has a purpose. Its purpose is to allow us to choose whether or not we wish to live in communion with God. God respects our freedom, and that includes our freedom to choose something other than Him. Such an exercise of, quote, freedom is sin. Part 3 of the Catholic Catechism, a section devoted specifically to a discussion of moral theology, is entitled Life in Christ. The section treats the vocation of man to beatitude, a word which means happiness. It articulates a clear moral theology of choice by considering the morality of human acts, the role of the passions, proper formation of the conscience, and the cultivation of the virtues, accompanied by the rejection of sin. In its explanation of the morality of human acts, the Catechism offers a sobering insight concerning a wrong exercise of freedom, and I quote, "Mortal sin is a radical possibility of human freedom, as is love itself," end quote. It properly insists that authentic human freedom cannot be realized in decisions made against God and against what is good because, and I quote, "it is patterned on God's freedom." One analogy that many will understand is the gift of a first car. With such a gift comes an expectation that you will drive responsibly, going to and from school and work and church, and occasionally on a date when you're young. But they cannot control us behind the wheel. If we break traffic laws, go places we shouldn't be, and don't maintain the gift, well, we cannot expect much good. The good news is, if we have made mistakes in the past, wrongly used our freedom, we can correct them through reconciliation and penance, and choose better next time. And as Paul points out, this is only possible through Jesus and the freedom that He has earned for all of us. In our responsorial psalm today, we recall the saving power of God. Let us rejoice and be glad, for God has shown His saving power to the world. He's shown His saving power to us in our own day-to-day experience of the world. God is real. He is acting always. What is needed is the eyes of living faith to see His action and a heart of living faith to respond to it. Take a moment today to give thanks for your salvation and think of some small way you can share your joy with others, whether through an act of kindness or a prayer or some other good gesture. In today's gospel, we see Jesus call Simon. This encounter leads to a life of transformation, which converts Simon from a mediocre fisherman into a great disciple. It didn't happen all at once, and it called for Simon's continual response of faith. This is a powerful lesson for us. If I were to ask you, what do? You might answer with the name of your job. Or perhaps you attend school or are retired. This is how we identify ourselves. But Jesus invites us to see ourselves differently. We are all fishers in the business now of catching people, and the gospel is our net. Think about what you do each day and how you might better pay out the gospel. You do not have to preach. You simply have to bring your Christian values with you and share them wherever you go. You provide the net, and Jesus will provide the fish. Go about your business, your day-to-day activity, as though Jesus were with you, because He is, just as He was in the boat with Simon. After all, He is here with us. And don't worry if you aren't the greatest at what you do. Remember, the disciples were ordinary folks just like us. Just as Jesus did for Simon, He will do for you too.